Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Texas Values Report. This is Jonathan Sines, president of Texas Values. Great to be with you on a Saturday afternoon in the great state of Texas. The Texas game doesn't start until 6, so maybe I have some of your attention here in the Central Texas area. But hey, look, you might be from other parts of the state or other parts of the world for that matter. This show is on podcast and broadcast on the internet, so you could be anywhere, not just sitting in your car or in the garage or wherever you are listening on the radio for the local broadcast in 46 counties here in the Central Texas area. But hey, nonetheless, you know I do that sometimes as a Texas graduate myself. As a matter of fact, what am I doing? Hold on. The Saturday game's not until next week. I'm getting mixed up. Our game was this past Thursday night. Oh, boy. And we did win, finally. But we're praying for you, Baylor. I know it's been tough. But this show is not about football, even though that is a Texas value to care about football. You know, we talk about the issues of faith, family, and freedom. And particularly as they enter the arenas of the legislature, the courts, and the media. And, you know, we work on a lot of issues, too, with folks outside of our state that care about the work that we do. And oftentimes we'll see folks that are involved in efforts that are faith-based that we like to support or we like to interact with, or maybe they're messaging on similar issues. And so you'll see that oftentimes. And so, you know, I'm going to talk a little bit today in the second segment about some things that have been happening in our state, as it relates to the issues that we care about, some really important things that have been happening. But this time of year too, when the legislature's not meeting, there's a lot of things that are happening where we're doing education events. So we have an event in Lubbock coming up this week on October 5th. You can go to our website, txvalues.org, find out what happened during the legislative session. Maybe you want to invite a friend to hear more about our organization or meet us in person. We're going to be out in Lubbock. And then later in the month, we're going to be down in McAllen, and we're going to be doing an event in Central Texas here soon as well. But this time of year allows us to travel a little bit more to get to different parts of the state where we usually don't find us, or it's hard to get to when we're focusing on the state legislature here in Austin. But the other thing this time period allows us to do is to work on community engagement events, which we love to do. And so we have a guest that's on the show today who's going to tell us a little bit about that. Our guest today is Steve Rhoads. Steve Rhoads is the vice president of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. He oversees the My Hope Ministry and church engagement for the Decision America Tour with Franklin Graham. And one of the reasons that we have Steve on today is because Franklin Graham has a tour that he's involved in that's coming up here in just a couple of weeks that's focused on the state of Texas. So we wanted him to tell us a little bit more about what was going on. Steve, welcome to the Texas Values Report.
Jonathan, thanks a lot. It's great to be with you.
Well, it's good to have you on. You and I got to visit our office a month or so back. And just to round out your bio, nice details you got here. Steve joined the organization back in 2012, and for 10 years he was an associate pastor at Calvary Church, Charlotte, North Carolina. We got a lot of great friends out in North Carolina, the Benham brothers and other folks. He's got a degree from Wheaton College, a little Texas connection there, Dallas Theological Seminary, where he got his master's, and then also from National Louis University with his master's in science. 4 children, happily married. So you can talk a little bit about your family on this show, no doubt. But Steve, tell us about this tour that's coming up where Franklin Graham is coming to Texas.
Yeah, I'm happy to. We're very happy to be in Texas. We've been working in Texas with churches for the past couple of months, Lubbock and Midland, all the way out to West Texas, and then out to Longview, and then working south as well. And it was last year when we finished up the Decision America Tour. Franklin did 50 prayer rallies in every single capital in 1 year, beginning in January, ending in October in 2016. It was a call to the church to pray. I mean, Jonathan, you and your listeners know as well as anyone that this has never been a more critical time for Christians to stand up, make their voices heard, be engaged, be prayerful, and be actively involved in the community. And that was Franklin's message, that we have to call on God and ask God for help in this country. And that's why we went to all 50 capitals in 2016. When that was over, when that was finished, as we were coming to the close, we were going through Virginia and then winding up in North Carolina, Franklin started to think, well, for this coming year, after the election and after there were probably a record number of Christians that turned out to vote, but yet the spiritual problems in our country, the heart of the issue, is a real need for the church to turn back to God and for people to get saved. And so Franklin made a decision after praying about it for a long time to focus on two states in particular, Tennessee and Texas. And so we've been working in Texas for months now, working with churches all across the state. And then it's been providential that we've been so active in Texas with the hurricane that came through, and then cooperating with our friends and sort of co-ministry at Samaritans Purse to try to help all the people that have been affected by the hurricane. But all of this culminates in the next couple of weeks when we start out in West Texas and then wind up coming through San Antonio and coming through Round Rock. And so that's where, at least from a local perspective, it kind of touches where you are, Jonathan, the Austin area. But it gives a chance for the church to really stand up and pray, and then to bring people who need the hope of the gospel.
Well, that's right. We're talking with Steve Rhoads, Vice President of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. He's telling us about some upcoming events here in Texas, the Decision America Texas Tour, where Franklin Graham is going to be appearing. Not only Franklin Graham, but a name that might also be known pretty well in the state of Texas, David Crowder, and for that matter across the country. But David Crowder certainly well known in Texas, in the central Texas area. I think he lives in Waco. He's from that area, if you will. So the events start on October 11th in Lubbock and wind their way through different parts of the state and conclude with Longview on October 9th. You got Midland, Corpus, San Antonio, Round Rock, Waco. I want to go to that Whataburger Field event, okay? In Corpus. I'm certainly I'm going to be at several of the events. I've been working with Brian Allerid from y'all's organization about connecting him with different people in these different cities, but there's a few of these that I'm going to go to. Have you had a Whataburger before, Steve? You went to Dallas Theological Seminary. You ever had a Whataburger?
No, I have.
Oh.
I haven't. I mean, I've been at In-N-Out several times.
Don't mention In-N-Out. Ooh, okay. No, you're good. I'm just having some fun with you. Whataburger is a Texas-based burger place, but it's, for a lot of people, it just feels like Texas too. I mean, there's a lot of things that have over the years that its identity is intertwined with us as Texans. But nonetheless, the events at Whataburger Field, that's a baseball field, a minor league field in Corpus Christi area. The backdrop to that is amazing too. I've been to a baseball game there. There's a great bridge that goes over the water, as there's like a little area that opens up to Corpus Christi Bay. You've got the battleship, the USS Lexington, right on the other side of the freeway there, if you will. I have family that live in Corpus, so I'm very familiar with that area. And so, but a number of different events. Let's talk about the one in Round Rock. Even though the show broadcasts all over the place, the local dial, people listening on the radio, will certainly be able to hear this in Round Rock, was just north of the Austin area where the show broadcasts out of. October 16th, though, is at the Dell Diamond parking lot, and October 16th is a Monday. And the event started in the evening, I assume. You got David Crowder there. Give us an idea of just a little bit about the timing. I mean, I guess 6, 7. I mean, these things start and then.
Yeah, it starts at 7:30. It'll be just outside the Dell Diamond Field in the parking lot there. David Crowder will open. He'll play. I mean, the fact that we're with Crowder is really exciting for us, and I think terrific for Texas. He's a wonderful guy, and the lyrics of his music and the strength of his music, it will really be a blessing to be with him. And then that starts at 7:30, and I would encourage everybody to get there early, because it's going to be crowded, and you don't want to wind up 500 yards from where everything's happening. So I'd encourage everybody to get there early, but it starts at 7:30 start with David Crowder, and then Franklin will give a message of hope, and then at the end there's fireworks. So it really gives, it'll be a nice evening. I mean, you want to come out, you want to bring everybody in your church, the whole church, to come, and then you also want to bring other people. So don't come by yourself. Gather up your neighbors, your pharmacist, your primary school teacher, anybody you can think of, and say, come on, let's go together. Because with the music and the message from Franklin, I think everybody will come away encouraged.
Well, I'm looking at the website, texas.billygraham.org, Decision Texas, the Lone Star Tour. I'm asking a question that probably I should know the answer to, but are there tickets? Does it cost to go to the event? I mean, just logistics on that side for people to attend. What does that look like? Yeah,
no, it's free. The night before, the Bell Diamond one in Round Rock is on the 16th at 7:30. The night before is in San Antonio at 7:30 at River City. I don't know what the reach is of your audience.
Yeah, we catch some people in San Antonio.
Okay, so anybody that comes to any of these events, Saturday night in Corpus Christi at the Whataburger field, and then Sunday night in River City at the River City Community Amphitheater in San Antonio, and then Monday night in Round Rock, and all of those are free. So you can attend too. You can just drive up to Waco.
All right, you don't have to have a voucher or anything from the website. Nope. You just show up.
Nope.
Okay, and I understand the website does have some engagement on it where y'all like people to tell them to say who you're going to bring or that you're going to bring people and all that good stuff. But if for some reason people don't get to the website, they can still attend the event. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to register. You don't have to give us your name. There aren't going to be tickets. We're not taking anything at the door. It's kind of like free festival seating for everyone. So, yeah, you certainly can come. There are ways that people, if you want to go to the website, you gave a website, you can also go to decisiontexas.com. But the website gives also opportunities for people to volunteer. So if you're listening and you want to help, go to the website, volunteer, and there are things that we can do even in the next 2 weeks. We'd love to work with you. We'd love to work with you to help get the word out. And then also, there's another opportunity, Jonathan, if you don't mind me saying this.
Go ahead.
There's going to be a training that we're going to hold on Monday night at Celebration Church in Georgetown, and it's going to take people through what we've used for decades called Christian Life and Witness. And what that'll do is it'll teach people in about 2.5, 3 hours how to share their faith, and also give people an opportunity if they'd like to be a prayer volunteer the night of, because Franklin's going to give an invitation. People are going to get saved. If we know anything, we know that when the gospel is preached, the Spirit of God moves and people get saved. And as a result, people are going to they're going to need somebody to pray with them. Anybody that's listening.
Okay, hold on a second, Steve. Which Monday are we talking about? That same day, the 16th?
No. This coming Monday, okay. October the 2nd.
October the 2nd.
Jonathan. That's
really
okay. Helpful.
That's okay. So Monday, this coming Monday, October 2nd, Celebration Church in Georgetown, starting at what time?
I think it's 6 o'clock. It starts at 6 o'clock, and it runs until about 8:30, 8:45.
Gotcha.
6 o'clock, this coming Monday night, October the 2nd. So if you're listening and you say, I'd like to do that, I'd like to be a prayer volunteer, you can show up at Celebration Church at 6 p.m., and you can take this wonderful course. I mean, it really will help, even if the prayer volunteer is not for you. It'll help you. It'll encourage you in your faith and give you some tools you can use as you're sharing the gospel and telling people about Jesus.
Well, and look, there's, continue to be attacks on our faith, continue to see sometimes the government trying to restrict people from sharing their faith. There have been problems in the Houston area with the way churches have been treating as far as getting disaster relief simply because they're religious, and so sometimes people... There's benefit, is what I'm getting to, for people knowing what their rights are, but also knowing, and I think this is what y'all be focusing on at that meeting, is getting some encouragement so they don't feel so concerned about it and they know how to approach people on these issues. Let's switch gears and talk about Houston and the Gulf Coast area. I know some of these events are going to be close to that. I drove through, and not only drove through, spent time in Rockport, but drove through Corpus to get to Rockport. That community has been devastating. And I don't even know if devastated is a strong enough word. I mean, it is just, the magnitude is just, I mean, it's heartbreaking.
Totally right.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So I spent the day there and we visited with some folks, some chaplains from the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association later that day. And so, one of the events is in Corpus, but Samaritans Purse, that Franklin Graham is also a part of it, excuse me, helps lead, has been doing tremendous work. Give our listeners a little bit of update on some of the work that y'all been doing. And it's not only in Texas. I know that some things have happened in Florida and other places, but most of our listeners are going to be in Texas. So tell us a little bit about what's been happening lately on that front.
So Samaritans Purse is, Franklin is the head of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, as well as the head of Samaritans Purse. Samaritans Purse's mandate, what they care about, is going to places where people are really the most vulnerable and where they've been affected either by man-made or human or natural disaster. So look, what's happened in Texas. I mean, that whole coast has just been absolutely wrecked. So Samaritan's Purse generally tries to get there first, because you're going not only with help, with water, with drywall, with helping get mud out of people's houses and rebuilding, clearing trees, all of that. They go in with that, but we're going in the name of Jesus. Yeah. So as you said, that's really important. It's important for the church to be first and front and center, for the Christians to be there first. And your listeners will know this, that when push comes to shove, guess who shows up? It's Christians. So,
and let me tell you, you're talking about some nitty-gritty work. We spent the day with Samaritan's Purse in the Houston area, and it's messy. And I'm not saying that to be insensitive towards the people that we were serving. They know it. I mean, in other words, it's a lot of work that I think some people, don't have the stomach for, to really put it bluntly. And so, but you're right. When we were doing that, you had people, we were volunteering, but there were also chaplains on site as well. We were able to sign a Bible. I tell you what, Steve, boy, there were two things. There were a lot of things I won't forget about this experience. And I'm from Houston, a lot of family and friends there. A lot of things I won't forget. But there were two things that really stood out. And I don't want to say more than others, but they stood out. In Rockport, I saw this baseball field just twisted up. And I have boys that play baseball. I coach baseball. Broke my heart to see, and I know how that can impact a community when those things are destroyed. The other thing was when we were working Samaritan's Purse, we got to sign a Bible for one of the families that we were helping serve. They had lost their mother in the flood. She had drowned.
Oh, no.
And so not only were they dealing with their home that was completely devastated on the inside, and who knows how they're going to recover from that high water. So mother had passed away, and one of the family members had been to the emergency room for an injury that he suffered trying to move things out of the home. And so, man, they had a lot to deal with. And so the presence of Samaritan's Purse with the volunteers, but also with the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association chaplains on site, the Word of God. I mean, Christ was there. Mm-hmm. It's very important, the work that you are doing.
Well, it is. That's heartbreaking to hear about that woman who lost her life, and how do you recover from something like that? So it's sort of a twin. What we try to do, Jonathan, is our chaplains go in. So we have chaplains all over the country that volunteer and go in to pray with people and to try to bring some hope and to say, come on now, we'll pray and we'll help you. And then Samaritan's Purse comes in and says, we'll help you try to get things cleared away, and can we at least move back toward normal as best as we can. And that's, again, where it's so important that Christians, it's such a good testimony, too, for Christians to be the ones that are in there to help. So we actually, the way it worked out, Jonathan, is we immediately sent, Samaritan's Purse set 5 centers. And you were the one at Rock Point. There's one in Victoria and Houston and in Santa Fe, Texas, where from those spots, then the volunteers, the Samaritan's Purse volunteers, go out and are sent out in groups to try to help and bring all the resources with them, and the hammer and the drywall and all of that. So it really is a wonderful opportunity. By the way, any of your listeners that want to volunteer, they can go to SamaritansPurse.org and register to volunteer, and they'll put you to work. But as you said, Jonathan, this is work. This is legit work.
It is, and it is needed. And I will tell you, I don't know, you've done, the Samaritan's Purse. This is not what my organization does. We did spend the day there because we felt it was important for a variety of reasons, but just mainly as fellow Christians wanting to serve and help people in our community. But I would imagine with time, it's harder to find more volunteers. We saw reports that you saw people lining up to volunteer a couple of days after Hurricane Harvey passed through that area, which was wonderful. But I would imagine and the road to recovery is going to be long for a lot of people in different parts of that area in Texas. I would imagine, as the days move on, maybe you don't have as many volunteers. And so that's continued to be a need, I would imagine.
It is because, people, the immediate need, everybody wants to run down with a shovel and all that, and that's wonderful. But it's 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, particularly because the news cycle being what it is, and now you have Florida, and now you have Puerto Rico, and then there's an earthquake in Mexico, and people move on in their lives. And so I'd say that a lot of these people, it's going to take a long time to get back, so there's going to be an ongoing need for volunteers. So I just say that to your listeners, look, if you want to help, there is an opportunity through Samaritans Purse, which is you can't find an organization that has more integrity that Franklin leads, and they're very careful and meticulous about donations. The money actually winds up helping the victims, so it's a wonderful ministry, and I'm proud that Franklin's the CEO of that ministry as well as Billy Graham, because it really helps people at the point of their greatest need.
Yeah, well, they look to me. It looks like it goes hand in hand, and so I think it makes perfect sense how that's going and how those two entities are operating under his leadership. Steve, we kept you on longer than I told you we would, but thanks for doing that. A lot of great information, relevant information, local information for people. But and as we conclude with you, no surprise that the majority of the nonprofit, majority of the work, first of all, on the ground for these relief efforts for Harvey and other places and other, as far as in the Houston area and Gulf Coast, majority of it is nonprofits. And this isn't a jab at the government, but it's just a reality, right? And as you said, we should be going first. Majority of the nonprofit work is being done by faith-based Christian organizations. And one of those, no question, that is front and center is the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association along with Samaritans Purse. Steve Rhoads has been our guest today. He is the vice president of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. You can find more at texas.billygraham.org. What was the other website you gave, though, about the Decision Tour?
Decision Texas. DecisionTexas.com.
DecisionTexas.com. Starts October 11th, goes through October 19th. Several appearances and great events with David Crowder, with Franklin Graham. Great message, great inspiration. Steve, thanks for being our guest today on the Texas Values Report.
Thanks so much, Jonathan. God bless you and all that you're doing.
All right, God bless you, Steve. Well, that's good stuff, and it's always nice when a guest stays on a little bit longer than you told them that you might have them, but he had great information, and he allowed me to have some good interaction with him, and I really appreciate that. But we're going to have to make sure Steve gets some Whataburger when he comes to Texas. That is no doubt. I might have to arrange that myself for him, right? We love Whataburger. I just have to mention this as an admission on the air. I foolishly thought Dairy Queen surely had some Texas connection. Nope. I mean, there are Dairy Queens in Texas. We know that. But I mean, as far as their founding and their, operation, all that, nope. I'll look it up in a minute where they're from. They are not from Texas. Who's heard that song from Lyle Lovett? You're not from Texas, but Texas wants you anyway. Anyway, so Dairy Queen is from Minnesota, is where their corporate offices are? Wow, that's pretty far north of Texas. I think there was, where they started, though, was in Iowa. No, I don't know, Illinois. I'm seeing all kinds of stuff on Wikipedia, so you can correct me if you want. So I was surprised by that, but don't worry, Whataburger is 100% certifiable Texas. But the reason I was tricked by that, or, I was misinformed, Dairy Queen does those commercials, the Texas stop sign. So I just was like, oh, well, surely they're a Texas group. No, Whataburger. And I'm sure there are others too, but Whataburger is certainly one of the strongest Texas brands you'll see. So let's see about getting Steve Rhoads some Whataburger when he comes down to Texas. But look, go to our website, txvalues.org. As I mentioned, a week before this event that Billy Graham's having, Billy Graham Evangelistic Association with Franklin Graham is having, Texas Values has an event out in Lubbock where we're going to educate you about what happened during the legislative session, and we're not going to hold back. We're going to have plenty to say. We're going to call it like it is and give you the relevant information. That's a free event. It's in Lubbock on October the 5th in the evening. And so if you go to our website, you can find out more information about that event that we're having. And then I have to look up the date here of my own event. But later in October down in McAllen, you have some friends down in McAllen that you want to invite to learn more about our organization in South Texas. That event is, my computer's taking a long time to load. Man, I'll look in just a minute. The event on October 5th, I'm trying to get you a location, and I'm going to run out of time. Go to our website, txvalues.org. It's the one in Lubbock is going to be at a church called Rock City Church. It's in Lubbock, Rock City Church, October 5th, 6:30 to 8:30, free event. And the one in McAllen is on October the 25th, I believe, 26th. No, 25th, 24th, going once, going twice. October 25th, that's a Wednesday. txvalues.org, you want more information, check out our Facebook page. Donate to us. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Your donations are tax deductible for faith, family, and freedom in Texas. See you next week.